Hello. Hello, everyone who's joining. If you would like to, you could pop into the chat where you are from, where you are coming from. And I'm really excited to have a bunch of you guys sign up today and very excited to share. So first of all, I want to check in with everyone as we kind of start to begin. From Alabama, hello Gabby, hello Melissa, hello Debbie, hello Becca, hello Jaden, Joanne, Katie, all of you guys joining. So great to see you. And I wanted to really take this time to help you to kind of activate and step into this energy, because what's happening right now in our collective is, I know a lot is coming up for people, right? And so with that being said, not only is it coming up for our collective, but each individually, we're being called to really to shed a skin, to rise, to step into what's next for each and every single one of us. I know I've been feeling it on my end as well, of just this stirring, right? Of busting through an old shell and to shed what is no longer serving us so we can step forward and step into all the beautiful things that we desire. What I've been shown to is just a next level of ease, a next level of support, a next level of abundance, a next level of being embodied in our confidence, a next level of choosing to be empowered as we take our power back from anything that we've given it to and choose to be our own magic wands and step forward as we are being guided to. Katie is from New York. Hello from New York. Great to have you on. Great to have everybody on. Debbie is from Boulder, Colorado. Yes, we have people all over the country. Very excited to hear that. And so I would love to hear from you guys how you have been feeling this week. How have you been feeling this week? I know when I've checked in with my clients, when I've checked in with my friends, everyone's kind of been having moments here and there where emotion has come up. And then they've had days where they felt super confident and on fire. And I want to let you know, as you're having these kind of like little spurts of emotion coming up, just know that it's coming up to clear and it's coming up to pass through. So the quicker that you actually take time to sit down with those feelings and those emotions and allow them to pass through you, the quicker you're actually just going to move aside and step back into your empowerment. So before we begin, before we step in, I know I've already kind of been sharing a little bit. Together, let's go ahead and take a big, deep breath in through the nose. And release that breath. Drop your shoulders. And take another big deep breath in through the nose. Hold at the top. Hold, hold, hold. Release and let go. And as we unite our breath, as we join our hearts, we invite God, Spirit Divine, to guide my words, to guide our time together. And my intention is to really activate you beauties into being empowered. What does it mean to be empowered from the soul? What does it mean to step up into our own beauty, magnificence, confidence, and to move forward and never look back again? What does it mean to not settle? Take a breath in. And just inviting that you have realizations, that you get shown what parts of your life and what areas and what ways have you not been living fully empowered, and what areas have you been settling for less than what it is you truly desire. Take another breath in. And let it out. And just know that there are specific masters and angels who speak through me, who show up for my groups, you know, when I'm teaching my certification, when I'm teaching my my mastermind. You're kind of getting more than just me for those who understand. So I am a part of a light collective, essentially, and this beautiful light collective is here to really empower souls to be in their own light, to be in their own power, to live a life that is fully connected to purpose, right? To purpose, to abundance, to be on this planet as an expression of infinite possibility. And so this group of angels, masters, and lights, they speak they speak through me, and they work with my clients. And sometimes you can feel it, and sometimes it's the energy that feels like a buzz or feels empowering when you get off a call with me. A lot of times it's because you've been absorbing the energy, the light, the frequencies that are actually working through me to help support you into lifting you, to helping you to remember who you are on a soul level, and to wake things up within you. So as you take a big breath in, and you allow yourself to feel it, just know as I'm sharing, as I'm talking, you may start to feel things in a beautiful, uplifting way. So if you're open to that, if you're open to my guides, my angels, and your guides and angels working with you, supporting you energetically throughout this time, you can just claim that. Just say yes and just be open to receiving the love, the energy, and the support. So on a human level, I want to share with you a little story so you can better understand, because a lot of times it's like people follow me on Instagram, they see me, and they probably assume like, oh my gosh, it's just always been so easy for her, right? She's always been confident. She's always been, and it really truly wasn't the case. And I was thinking about that today. I'm like, it's so important for me to always share with you guys the realness and what has required for me to do to step to where I am today. And I want you to know, it's like, yes, I've grown now multiple 6-figure-a-year business. I train coaches. I work with high-level entrepreneurs, women who are truly doing amazing things here on the planet. And there's been such a process in my becoming to get here. And that process has required for me to look at all the ways that I've been settling, not just even in, the obvious ways, which I'll talk about in a minute, which is through relationships and in my job, but also just internally with myself. Settling with how I was talking to myself internally, right? There's so many ways in which we can identify where we have been settling for less than what it is that we truly desire. And in that moment, we can start to make a shift, okay? So tonight, we're also going to illuminate ways in which you are going to leave in the past, ways that you have been settling in all ways, including just even your relationship with yourself. We got Zella, who's trying to climb right behind me. You guys know she's always here for every single session, and she supports energetically as well. And hello, everyone who's joining, by the way, that I didn't get to say hello to. I'm so excited that you all are here. And so just continue to take some deep breaths in as I'm sharing, and just allow the energy to start to even support you and work with you further. So back when things all started to awaken for me spiritually, this was back in, it's always really been happening, right? Because we are spiritual beings, whether or not we know it, right? We're connected in every moment, even when we don't have that conscious awareness. But once really things started to wake up for me, I had a big breakthrough moment back in around 2012. I found myself dating all the wrong men. So imagine this picture. So I was climbing the corporate ladder, sitting in this cubicle. I was leading teams. I held a variety of roles. I was in corporate America for 7 years. At this point, I was probably only a few years into that experience, and had these big, massive dreams of being a president of this company, because there's a whole group of C-levels and presidents in the staffing firm that I was working at. And I had this dream of just being this businesswoman and climbing the ladder and working in corporate America. That actually was our dream at one point. And alongside that, I found myself in all the wrong relationships, dating all the wrong men. I'm telling you guys, it was like I kept dating the same person over and over and over again. He just looked different, right? It was a different version of all these men that I dated that weren't able to commit to me, that didn't see my value, that wouldn't open emotionally. And I felt like I was constantly chasing after all of the men that weren't available. Can anyone relate to that in their past? I like to say I dated lots of Peter Pans back when I lived in Tampa, Florida. And so I got to this place in my life where it was really sad, but I remember this moment saying, you know what? If I have to choose, universe, between love or my career, I would rather have love. I remember thinking that. And if I have to choose one or the other, then I'd rather have that, because my life feels empty. My life felt empty. climbing the ladder. And it makes me emotional feeling. I just felt empty. I wanted more meaning in my life, and I didn't want it to have to just be there. And I had this moment, you know, where I looked around and I'm like, why am I settling for dating these kinds of men? Why do I feel like this is all I'm worth? And as I took a step back and I started to assess that, something started to stir within me. And since the universe is always supporting us, the universe always has our highest at heart. I believe that so fully. The universe is always creating opportunities for us to grow. And sometimes those opportunities, this is not required, but sometimes if we're not listening, it happens, is we can have like this sacred rug pull. And, you know, I had a moment where I was dating someone kind of off and on. And then I saw him out with another woman. And that was a sacred rug pull for me. And in that moment, if you guys heard this on my podcast, I was actually out with some friends. And when this whole thing went down, I had this moment, my middle finger went up in the air, and you guys, I was like the sweetest pie girl. This is something so out of character for me, but my middle finger went up in the air and I said, F you. And the only person that heard was him and my friend. It wasn't like a huge bar scene or anything like that. But the F you, I realized, wasn't even about him. It was about me. It was about me in that moment, taking radical responsibility, because it wasn't his fault. It was not his fault. I was choosing to accept less, right? I was settling for someone who wasn't emotionally available to me. All the red flags had come up before that, right? But I was choosing to settle for that relationship. And so this was like a moment, an intervention almost, where the universe set that up so perfectly for me that happened, so that I could have that moment of realization, because that's what it was going to take for me, because apparently all the other men I dated, I wasn't getting it yet, right? And so the reason why I share this is, you know, it's important for us to take radical responsibility and to not blame the people outside of us, right? Because I believe the universe is always supporting us and showing us where we are accepting less, right? The universe is always for us, just responding to us. And so it was like a part of me before was just waiting for my knight in shining armor to come, right? Or some people waiting for their soul career to just show up, waiting for the right job, waiting for the raise to show up, right? Waiting for someone to treat them better. But here's the thing, is life is always reflecting back what we are choosing to say yes to in our physical reality, and how we are choosing to treat ourselves, right? What we are choosing to accept. And this is where it's like kind of grounding the heavens in with the earth, right? It's like the inner work is important, and then the outer action is equally as important to show the universe what we are making ourselves available for. So you guys hear me say all the time, I'm not available for this, I'm not available for that, right? And part of that is because so often, again, we make ourselves available for the things that we are saying that we don't want, right? We choose it. And so from a very grounded place, because I often talk about the guidance I get in channeling, I do get shown that this is part of what is going to create change in our lives, right? Is recognizing where we've been settling. So in that moment when I woke up and I took really radical responsibility for my own actions, like that was the moment everything started to change. That was the moment that I realized, oh my gosh, wait a second, why have I been settling? Why have I been attracting these kinds of men? Why did I feel empty in my job? Why did I no longer feel fulfilled by the work that at one point I liked? What was it? And guess what? It was something that was so much bigger than what I could have ever imagined. It wasn't even really truly at the end of the day, it was about settling, right? But it was about what life was pulling me forward into. Ooh, chills. Take a breath. Because you see, if I didn't have those moments, I wouldn't be here right now doing my soul's work. On the other side of settling is a life that you could have never imagined was possible for you. I would have never imagined that I would be here living in Laguna Beach with this crazy view, feeling how I feel now about myself. You know, it's like in true transparency, I've never felt more confident in who I am. I've never felt more excited about life. I've never been able to tap into such love. And this isn't that my life is perfect in every moment. Of course, things come up. but I've never felt so embodied in myself. And it's because of all of this beautiful work that I teach you guys and being able to commit to it, right? And so with that commitment has come some difficult moments of having to face all the ways that I wasn't loving myself, all the ways that I was holding back, all the ways that I was choosing to play small and settle for less, right? So thinking back to that moment, what if, you guys, what if I never left the cubicle? What if I would have continued dating those kinds of men and not taken a look, right, within myself? What if I'd be in the same place that I was? I would not be here right now sharing this message with you guys. And so each of you who felt inspired to sign up for this, there's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why life has pulled you to this very moment, because there's a part of you who's ready to go bigger in your life. There's a part of you that's ready to expand into more and experience more of what this life has to offer. There's a part of you that is becoming a version of you that you can't even see quite yet, because I definitely couldn't see what I've stepped into now. Didn't even seem like I wouldn't have even known how to dream in a way that brought me to this moment, right? And it was that one initial step that started to put me on this path and on this journey. And who the heck would have ever thought that I'd be doing what I'm doing today? Back in my corporate days, I would have never guessed and imagined that. So take a big breath in and let it out. And take another big deep breath in and let it out. And I'm inviting that all the ways in which you don't see your worth, in which you don't see your beauty, in which you don't see how powerful, magnificent, and amazing you are, I'm inviting for those energies to gracefully be let go of. For you to have beautiful realizations in what ways that maybe wasn't as extreme as my ways, or maybe it shows up differently for you, and what those ways are in your life. Because here's the thing, back to the story of that I thought I had to choose this or that universe, you know what? I'd rather not, if I can choose one thing, I would rather not feel empty in a career. I would rather have a relationship than be in an empty career. But that doesn't have to be true either. Guess what? You get to have every single thing that you want in your life. You get to have money in overflow, because there's truly infinite amounts of money available to every single person. You get to have passionate, amazing, true love. You get to have a career, a business that you are obsessed with. You get to feel good within yourself. There's no sacrificing. There's no saying this or that. It's this and that. Diamonds, it's this and that. It's all of the spectrum. It's all of the things. So maybe take a moment to reflect right now. In what ways have you maybe been settling for less than what you think is possible for you? In what ways did you have an Amanda moment where you thought like, oh, I can only have this and I can't have all of it? Or I have to sacrifice, or it's too greedy to ask for this amount in my business? Where are you settling? And here's the cool thing, is that your heart's going to show you exactly what that is. And it's going to be like the first thing that pops in. And you can certainly keep this question open and allow the universe to continue showing you over the next few days what that is. Take a moment, grab a journal, and I want you to ask yourself, where am I settling? Hello, Cynthia from Boulder. I think that's Debbie's friend, yeah? Great to see you on here. Gabby says, every time my career goes well, I sabotage my relationship and vice versa. Yeah, so let's take a moment to reflect on that and why that might be. Maybe a part of you that doesn't feel worthy of having it all, have to choose. here's the thing, is as you're uncovering what these things are, we're just gonna invite for you to be shown what else is possible. I'm being shown that some of you may feel, maybe all of you feel this way, that just because maybe you haven't seen an example, real life example of someone who has all the things that you want, maybe in the exact same way for some of you, that a part of your mind has decided it's not possible. Does anyone feel that way? If so, let me know in the comments. Yeah, Gabby says me. Thank you for sharing that, Beauty. Does anyone else feel the same way? That maybe it's just because you haven't seen a real life example of what everyone else, of someone having all the things that you desire to have, that part of your mind has decided it's not possible. Chills. Jaden says yes. Thank you for sharing that, Jaden. I appreciate you, girl. And that's okay. Honor your human self. But guess what? Because all of you are here, we are path pavers. We are way showers. Massive chills. And we get to have it all and be an example for the rest of the world. We are the designers of our destiny. We are the designers of our destiny. And we truly can create ease in all areas. And so there's a part of our mind, right, that doesn't feel like we are going to be supported or it's not possible. And just because you haven't seen it yet, would you be open to being a way shower and choosing to forge the path? Would you be willing to pave a new way and show the world how it can be possible through your decision? Becca says, yes, 100% with business and free time, just because I don't personally know anyone who has both. Oh, well, you haven't met me yet. Oh, do you have it here? I have plenty of flow. I will be honest with you. I have plenty of flow, and I know plenty of friends who are stressed out all the time in their businesses. I'm like, why? You just have to get smarter with your schedule, right? And make sure you're taking time for ourselves and those things. And not to say there aren't going to be times with more, when you have, doesn't mean that I don't have a lot of things in my calendar. It's just I take lots of time to make sure we're tapping into ease and make sure that you have flow time. So then becomes picking apart all of these beliefs, right? So Rachel says, I see it and I have it in parts of my life, and others I play small. Ooh, cool. Well, cool, because we're going to divert into that. So take a breath in. So when you feel into, I want you to actually place awareness in where you feel into that in your body. Like Becca, when you feel into what you just mentioned, where do you feel that in your body? Is it in your heart? Is it in your throat? Is it in your stomach? Because there's just old systems that are ready to be released and restructured. I'm being shown it blended the masculine and the feminine. It's like we've been taught one way or the other, but it actually, you get to have both, right? The masculine is the show up, take action, and create and do, right? And then there's the feminine, that be. And when we can have a marriage of both, that's when we feel balanced, right? That's when we can be busy, but we can still feel balanced within ourselves. When we can have time to ourselves and to not feel like we have to always be doing. We actually get to be as well in that, in the doing. So take a breath into wherever you're feeling that, and you fear that you don't get to have it all. And you fear that you have to sacrifice. And you fear that you have to play small. And then I want you to ask that sensation, that feeling. We're just going to, I already feel energy moving out. So I yawn when energy moves out for you guys. And you might yawn, you might burp, you might sneeze, you might feel emotion come up. You might feel nothing. That's okay too. Take a breath in. And I want you to just be with the sensation in your body. You're just going to invite some energy to move through. What I do when I'm moving energy through body, As I place my awareness on it, I drop the story and I just breathe into it. And I invite it to shift. I let it know I'm ready to shift. Take a breath. Sit with it just a few more breaths. Take a deep breath in. This is just energy that's stored in your body. Beliefs, emotions, energy gets stored in our body. And then it becomes a part of our subconscious, so we don't even realize it's there. So this is a way to actually take it out of your subconscious and move it through your whole being. Take a breath. Are you willing to do it a new way? Are you open to letting go of your old way of thinking, believing, and create something new, even if you've not seen it before? So I can tell you guys right now, the way I live my life, the way I teach things, the way I share, I really haven't seen certain things like any way before. And I always say I'm willing to just create this myself, and I don't need proof. Right? Because I will be the proof as I step forward and I create this. And so sometimes usually there's a fear at the root of it. And a lot of times when we don't allow ourselves to have everything that we desire, there's a root underneath that of, a lot of times it boils down to, I'm not enough or worthy of having it all, right? And it's disguised as something else, because usually it's disguised in some other way. We think it's one thing. We're like, oh, it's because of this. And it's like, oh, wait, let me peel back all of the layers and let me figure out what's actually underneath. And a lot of times, again, underneath, it's I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of having it all. So take a moment to even just shine a light and ask yourself, what's the fear underneath of all of this? What's the fear? Is it that you're not enough to charge what you want? You're not good enough, right? Or maybe it's like me. I can only have one thing and I can't have the other thing. It's not possible. Limitations created in the mind. Take a moment to actually journal out and write down, what is the underlying fear? What is the underlying fear? Because when you boil down to it, I used to have this fear, by the way, that I had to work through a couple of years ago. I'm like, if I invite in my divine masculine counterpart, I knew consciously that it wasn't true, that I was definitely going to have time to have a relationship. There's a part of me buried inside in my subconscious. Like, there's a part of me that thought I was going to have to sacrifice. Like, I couldn't have the business and the love. And I had to actually work through that. And once I took a look at the fear and just even shined a light on them, like, it doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't make sense. Does it make sense? Like, as you're shining a light on all this, does it actually make sense? Because, hey, whenever I wanted to do something, I always find the time to do it, right? It just takes a little more prioritization. It might take a little more organization in your schedule. It might take a little bit, for me with a relationship, guess what? I could easily prove the mind wrong, because I know, because I've been shown this, that my divine counterpart is going to catalyze so much expansion and growth and inspire me more. And actually my business and my life and everything is going to thrive on all cylinders even more so, because when you meet your true counterpart, you expand in so many beautiful ways and you come alive. It doesn't take away, it adds. It's a spark for massive expansion, right? It is. And so when I was able to figure out what the fear was and then prove my mind wrong with that, then I was able to actually give myself permission to open up to that and to start to step forward and to work through anything else that I had to work through in order to feel worthy of that. So my fears are that if it's all going well, it'll seem too perfect. And then you're right. So it's like, will you give yourself permission to let it be that good? Would you actually give yourself permission? Because here's the thing, then the mind comes in, our minds come in and says, well, then what will I worry about? If everything's good, right? What will my job be? Does anyone feel that a little bit? If I let it be that good, then what? Then what? Then what will I have to focus on if things are that good? Right? Or I'll die or someone else will. The mind doesn't want to let go. Take a breath in. What if we gave your mind, Gabby, and I'm sure this is perfect for everyone too, what if we gave it a little promotion in this moment? What if we instead promoted your mind? My mind really liked this when I ran this by my mind a few years ago. I gave my mind a promotion to instead be, you can call it whatever you want, but a guardian of love. That actually, I'm like, mind, guess what? You're getting promoted to expander. Your new job title is that you get to create a loving space for expansion instead of trying to limit me. That's your new job title. So see if your mind enjoys any of that. See if that lands for you. See if that starts to feel like it catches for you. And Joanne says that she resonates with that, Gabby. Yeah. But what if there's no pressure to keep up with that? Because what if it just gets to continue to be easy from there on out and there's no pressure? What if there's no pressure and it all just begins to flow? So we could just ride our bikes and hang out. Yeah. What if you could start to actually become friends with your mind, become friends with that aspect of you instead of letting it run the show instead, right? What if you could start to actually befriend your mind and partner with it? Ooh, that feels fun. Everyone take a big breath in. We're unraveling a lot right now. So there's a step in how they're taking me through this with you guys. So we're unraveling and ironing things out in your mind and just opening your mind to other possibilities, untangling and shifting old belief systems. So what if we instead invite your mind to start becoming your best friend? Because the mind actually gets a bad rap. Do you guys agree? So we're like, God, mind, shut up, or get out of here, or stop thinking that, or, mind, why are you always trying to bring me down? What if instead we could start to empower our minds instead of to shun them or to slap them around like whack-a-mole on being shown? What if we could instead start to now invite our mind to become the infinite mind, the divine mind, and let go of the old struggle paradigms of what the mind has to be? What if your mind could actually be a beautiful, empowering master that's guiding the way? Because guess what? Our minds are very powerful. When you have a strong mindset, when you have a strong mentality, when you can actually not hate on your mind and choose to welcome it in the circle and love it and encourage your mind, right? Lead your mind, guide your mind, be a cheerleader for your mind. When you can partner with that and it becomes the divine mind, guess what, you guys? You're unstoppable. Because I was thinking about this morning too on the beach and how important mindset work is. And mindset work just sounds heavy to me. It's like, mindset work. Anything that has work on it, it just makes it feel like a task, right? But what if instead we could join hands with our mind, right? And empower it to merge with the divine mind. Joanne says she loves that. Yes. And to instead give our minds a little upgrade, right? Empower it and allow that to guide the way. That feels so good, you guys. How good does that feel? That feels so good. Because then what would happen if we allow it to merge with the divine, if we allow our mind to be a place that's empowering and loving, and we give it permission to be love, we give our minds permission to be love. Holy crap, you guys, when mind, body, and soul are in alignment, guess what happens? When your mind is fully in alignment with your heart, your mind is fully in alignment with your soul, that's when you can literally live heaven on earth, where you can create anything in an instant, because that's how powerful our minds are. Actually, our minds are a tool to you. If your mind isn't right, you're not going to manifest the life of your dreams. If your mind isn't in alignment with empowerment, it's like when you get everything in alignment, anything becomes possible. And so it's important to have an expansive place to think, to be. And that just doesn't happen a lot of times by default, because our minds are in the past, not the divine mind, not what we're moving into, but previously the minds have been prehistoric, right? Because our minds are actually pretty linear. Historically, they're linear. They look to logical thinking, right? And we need our mind. We actually need logical thinking to function on this planet. We do need our mind. We do need pieces of logic. But where our minds can actually hold us back is where it limits us. And our minds only limit us because in the past, it can't see what's possible beyond what's linear. It can't see what's beyond the now. It's just looking for information, right? It's looking for logical reasons, and beyond that, to our mind, it seems like things aren't safe. And we're stepping out there, right? Past what we see right now, to our mind, it's uncertainty. So it tries to pull us back to safety, right? Maybe it's like you're trying to step in a new direction. Like to me, I know when I left my corporate job, for those of you who may not know this, I actually left my corporate job with no money in the bank account. And I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent or anything, because I'd been trying to build my business for a couple of years and I wasn't fully committed. And I just knew, for me, I was spiritually in a place, I don't recommend everyone do this. I was in a very strong place spiritually where I just was able to embody leap and the nut would appear. And I was willing to push my own edges and see how that could be possible. And it was scary, you guys. And I had some scary moments, but that year was a 6-figure cash year in my business, that next 12 months. So it worked. So I get it. I get all the fears that you have to push up against, but I also know what's possible on the other side of all of this, all of the fear. And so where our mind can only see a kind of limited view of what's possible, but if we get our mind in alignment with possibility and we stretch it, right? We stretch it and we make it a loving place, and we instead move it into becoming the infinite mind. Guess what is possible on the other side? Infinite possibilities. So it's really about getting our mind in agreement with infinite possibilities. It's about getting our minds in agreement with seeing what else is possible for our lives. Because we truly are the architect of everything that we want to experience. And just because you haven't seen it yet doesn't mean that it's not possible. This is landing. I hope this is landing and y'all are receiving and exploring and expanding and questioning maybe some of your old ways of thinking and believing and seeing life. And that my intention is to stretch you here. To take a breath. Settling is a choice. Settling is choosing to stay stuck. Settling is choosing to believe the archaic mind. Settling is choosing to believe limitation. Settling is choosing to believe that you're not enough. Ooh, that hits. Settling is choosing to believe that you are not enough and that it's not possible for you. Settling is choosing to believe that you're not enough, which is never true. That's a choice. It's a choice. I want you guys to know and understand, I get shown this all the time, that life is a menu of infinite possibilities. And you literally just get to choose what you want to have. Worth in divine's eyes, from a high level perspective, you may hear me say this a bunch of times, doesn't actually make sense on a soul level. To humans, we need to feel enough in order to be able to step into a life and experience those outcomes. We need to feel like we are enough. But from a high level spiritual standpoint, that doesn't make any sense because you already are enough. You just are, because you're an extension of source. Think of source, you hear me say this too a lot, is like this beautiful tree, and you are a branch on the tree. You are a part of source. You are as powerful as the God, source, divine that you pray to, that you pray to, that you ask for things, that you speak to, that you connect with. You are actually just an extension of that. You're just as powerful. You are an extension of the branch on the tree. You are the tree. And so because you have come from that love and that infinite possibility, the same goes for you in this physical world. You are able to just choose what you want. You're able to choose anything that you want. Anything. Nothing is off limits. And so with that in mind, as you're starting to grab a hold of this and allow this energy to expand you and move your mind into the divine mind, right? What would divine think then about the things that you want in your life? From the infinite mind, take it back to your business, take it back to your life, take it back to relationships. What would you choose then? What would you choose then? You know, for me, I've been shown these very beautiful things. And by the way, we don't even know what all is possible. And as we step forward, we just get shown more and more and more, because as we work on becoming that version of us who believes in infinite possibilities, and we start to take steps towards that in our lives, we get shown more of what's available. Because as we become, we raise our vibrations, we expand spiritually and energetically, more becomes possible to us, for us. We expand ourselves in a way that we become an energetic match for more things. So then we start to get shown more things. There's infinite timelines for your life. There's infinite possibilities for your life. There's not just one path. There's not just one way to get to the path, the end path. We have free will. And this is why it's so exciting that we get to be a co-creator of our reality in whatever way that we want to. But there's also steps to get there. Like I was saying, I would never imagine that I would be here. Even when I started doing this work, I would never imagine that I'd be having my own coaching certification, that I'd be leading these high-level, beautiful entrepreneurs in my mastermind, that I would be stepping on stage. I was terrified of the stage. I was terrified of public speaking. I would have never chosen this for myself. But as I started to step out and become, more was shown to me, right? More became possible and available along the way. And now it's like what I've been shown for my divine counterpart. I'm super excited when I meet him, because it'll just be so much more of you guys seeing the visions I'm seeing in my mind and how it actualized in reality. Because with that too, there's no settling for me in that area. And there's also a certain soul that my soul is coming into union with when we're both prepared. And that's a whole other topic about divine counterparts. And if anyone's interested in that topic, that's also something I'm going to be talking about in the future, especially when him and I come together. It's going to be very exciting. But there's no settling in that. There's no settling in whatever area that we are dreaming of in our lives. So check in and see how you feel now. The only thing that holds us back from stepping forward into that, again, is our own belief system. It's our own awareness. It's our own limitation of what we think is possible. And as we can start to question it, right? Question it. Shine a light on the fear. Question it. Step outside of the story and see that every single thing in our lives is literally just based upon what we believe is possible. And as you can bust through that and then start to step forward into that life, all of those things become a beautiful orchestration and make it happen very quickly. Take a breath. And you can let me know in the comments what's coming up for you. You can let me know in the comments what questions you have about this or how this applies to something certain in your life. Anything specific that you want to ask me, now is a beautiful time to ask questions. You know, next week when Jennifer and I are able to teach the workshop that we are going to be teaching, because I'm saving that content for when her and I are together. You know, she's created a lot of beautiful things in her life. She's been on reality TV shows. She's won pageants, and she now has her own magazine that she's launched. And she is one of, like, I can't remember how many kids in her family, but I think she's one of like 10 or 11 kids in her family. And so I'm excited to also share her point of view on all of this as well, and to start to take steps forward. But today I really wanted it to be with this extra week to help to shine a light and to activate you into what ways maybe you have been holding back on seeing what's possible. And here's the thing is, all of you guys in this room are leaders. I know that you are. Whether you are an entrepreneur of some sort, whether you are a coach, healer, or whether you're just a leader in your own life with your own embodiment. Because if you're on this soul journey and you're in this room, there's no way that you would be in this room right now if you weren't also a leader in some way in your life. Because just by doing this work, you are on the leading edge of what this whole world is being invited to step into now. Gabby says part of the growth process I was DMing you about, I didn't see your DM yet, is staying solid on my new ground. I think the answer is being extra intentional every day, every hour. But I feel like I'm going up and up in the possibilities. So what would it take for you, Gabby, every day to step out, and this goes for everyone, to step out of the limitation story and to plug yourself into the divine mind, the infinite mind? And to take time to really, really, really every day step out of that story and to work through those fears that are coming up around that. I know we don't have a whole lot of time to work through fears and to go through all those processes today. But as you start to explore that, even shining a light on it is going to help you to stretch into what else is possible. See the day in highlight. Ooh, can you explain a little bit more about what that means? The first step on this story, or on this whole journey into what else is possible, is getting, again, your mindset in the right place, of seeing possibilities, of stepping out of your own story, right? Because again, every single thing is a story. Everything is a story. My old pattern of I only attract these kinds of men was a story I was choosing every day. The real reason why I was attracting those men is because I didn't feel worthy. I wasn't loving myself. I wasn't loving myself, right? And so I was looking outside of myself for the answers, but you can only feed that to yourself, right? So you can only feed yourself the story of infinite possibilities. You can only feed yourself the story of love that you want to create in your life. It always comes back to what we are choosing to feed, what we're choosing to fuel, and how we're choosing to love and see ourselves. Joanne says, whenever I collapse timelines in my life, I'm bombarded with so much abundance, and I immediately get overwhelmed and freeze up. That's currently my biggest fear, having it all and sabotaging. Beautiful. So what you can do in that moment, Joanne, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm very excited to hear you share all of that as well, that you've been jumping timelines and all of that. That's super cool. Is instead of allowing yourself to go into the overwhelm, what if you could stop in that moment and say something so simple, but I used to do this and it worked for me. Take a breath in. I'm worthy of this abundance. I let myself receive this abundance. I am so worthy of this abundance. Because I remember when things started taking off in my business and I'm like, okay, when's the other shoe going to drop? And immediately I hear audibly, it's not going to drop. Your job now is to learn how to hold the abundance. Your job now is to learn how to feel worthy of what's coming in, and to practice sitting and feeling that in every cell in your body. No, I am worthy of this. I let myself receive this. And to let that new story start to integrate in your system. Does that land? No, I am worthy of this. And taking a stand for yourself with that. And saying, this is everything I've been praying for, and I receive this. I receive this. And as you do, it's like I'm being shown like energy integrating in your system, Joanne, and for anyone else who this can help. And as the energy integrates in your system, it's like, it comes online when you're like, yes, I'm worthy of this. The universe is like, okay, cool. She receives it, right? Guess what else happens? You expand then in your energy and what you're able to receive, and more abundance shows up. And then you start to get lifted into this new template where all of a sudden you let yourself receive more. And then you can hold more abundance, right? Because if part of you doesn't feel worthy, then you'll push it away. If a part of you doesn't feel worthy, then you'll kind of go back to the old self. You can never really fully go back to your old self. I don't believe in the going backwards thing unless we don't step in. It's always just another layer of something coming up. Jaden says, I feel like old habits and thought patterns come back when I'm surrounded by family members or people that knew a past version of me. It can be easy for me to snap back. Okay, cool. This is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. This is so important as well. So what part of you then, Jaden, is agreeing to go back to that past version of you? So here's what I was being shown too, because I'm very tapped in intuitively. Intuitively, I hear guidance audibly and I get visions. And all of you probably are as well, and you're not acknowledging that, but start to pay attention. Start to pay attention and just invite your guides and your angels and the masters to speak with you more fully and louder. Ask them to turn the volume up. So when I was home for Christmas this past year, they reminded me, you are returning as a new version of you. What version of you is going to show up to Christmas with your family? Because what can happen is we go back around those people and we go back to who we've always been with our family, right? We go back to our like past self. And so for me, it was consciously, how am I going to choose to show up? Who am I showing up as? Because it's our mind. It accesses all this memory and it's like, oh, this is who I am with these people. This is how I'm going to show up because this is how we've always shown up, right? This is how we interact together. And simply that conscious way of, nope, who am I going to be? Who am I? And you could even take out a journal, a notebook, and write down, who am I now? And start to visualize and feel that. Who am I with my family now when I go back? What version of me is going to show up there? And invite the you that you are today to show up there instead of a past version of you. And that has been a huge, I got two of my diamonds in here and they're saying hello to each other, hello. And invite that version to go home with you or to commune with your family. And from there, as you start to, again, show up differently, because this is like an inside out job. And so a lot of times, again, it's this illusion of going backwards, but we just haven't welcomed that new version of ourselves into that new reality. Haven't welcomed that new version of ourselves into that relationship. And it's always kind of conscious on our end too. It takes a little bit of practicing being that version of ourselves in with the family. Let's take a breath in. And also in all of this is like releasing the pressure to have to get it right. But this is everything that I've done, you guys, because I've been here and all these questions coming up about this, right? About all the fears that come up with stepping into your highest self and what that actually truly means and how we can do this. It's truly an inside out job, right? The inner piece, and then it's the showing up piece. And when we can do both, that's when we get real change. That's when we get real change. And a lot of times we do one or we do the other, right? But it really does take a combination of both. And I'm telling you, as you do it once, even as you go home once to your family and you're like, okay, who am I going to show up as today? Right? Because a lot of times we just allow our family to push our old buttons, our old wounds, right? But it's not always required for our growth. Sometimes it's just forgetting who we are in that moment, forgetting who we are. So this is kind of beautiful how this is circling around into knowing that all of this is for you stepping forward into who you really are and remembering that in every moment. Who you are is abundance. Who you are is infinite possibility. Who you are is pure potential. I don't care who you were yesterday, who you were last year. Well, I care. I care because I love you. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you were 5 minutes ago or what happened last night or last year that says nothing about who you can choose to become today. And remember that you are today, and remember who you are tomorrow. And it's going to take repetition, commitment, and it's going to take you every day connecting into your highest self. I have the girls in my circuit, guys are doing this last week, and the girls actually in my collective of taking time to connect with our higher selves in meditation, and to start to commune more with our higher selves than we do with our past selves, than we do with our human selves, the part of us that feels limited and in lack. You know, the more that we can connect to who we are beyond the body, the more that we can experience our infinite potential in this reality. The more that we can experience ease in our businesses, right? So grounded in to make it real. Ease in our businesses, making money in your business, signing on clients, getting the dream job, attracting your divine counterpart, having dream friendships, getting your dream place, your home to live, being able to balance it all is first created and birthed within ourselves. And then it's carried out by living this, by living it. Ease on the outside is birthed from ease on the inside. Ease on the outside is an inside actual job. Ease first, outer reflection, ease. Any place in your life that isn't ease right now is because there's a part of you that is in alignment with the dis-ease within. Bank account. How does that feel? Heavy, light, not ease? Well, part of you feels the not ease within yourself. It's a reflection, right? Take a breath. So let's invite in for your soul to show you abundance, ease, possibility in your choosing of it, in your choosing of it. If you were not afraid, and if you knew that everything was going to work out, ladies, what would you choose? Get honest with yourself. What would you choose from that knowing within your soul? What would you choose if anything and everything were possible? I invite you to explore that tonight before you forget, right after this call, because I know we are at an hour, which it went by so fast. I invite you to explore what that would be. And if anything and everything were possible, what would you choose? And you get shown something. It is 100% available to you. The only thing that holds us back from there is the fear. And so it's about then working through those fears, questioning them, processing them, working on confidence and worth and all of that as you step forward into those dreams and desires. Because I can tell you right now, the things that I have today didn't look possible at one point. I had no idea. I remember when I put even 20K months on sticky notes on my on my bathroom mirror, and that was only a couple of years ago. Now guess what, you guys, I have like 6-figure launches. I've had multiple 6-figure launches of programs, and a launch is usually done in a month. So just to give you an idea of what that has come into fruition for me. So it once never looked possible. And that was just a few years ago that it didn't even look possible. But it wouldn't have been possible if I first wouldn't have allowed my mind to stretch there and to start believing it. And then to start choosing that belief every day and to choose to show up and work through the things. And to know that you're worthy of having it all. Because guess what, you guys, at the end of the day, this is what makes it so beautiful for me is, let me see what Debbie says first. Sometimes shining my bright light with family and others feels like I'm being too showy or not humble enough. I use it to intentionally dim my light to fit in, but no more. Yeah, no more. And I get that so much. I get that. I understand how it feels to feel that way because I have in the past. And you know what? I just hold my light and I keep going. I don't try to force other people to jump on my bandwagon. I don't try to force them to see my view. Sometimes I just get quiet around in certain conversations, and I just hold my light, and it speaks for itself. Yes, Debbie, I love seeing the support here. Yeah, no more. No more dimming to fit in. Because guess what? You were born to shine, girl. Well, what I was going to say with that, also that, is that as you shine, you actually invite other people to go there with you. And so there's this old belief that if I have it all, then other people are going to feel bad. But guess what? That's not our intention, right? Our intention is to show others what's possible for them. That's always been my intention. I said right before, when I had 5 cents in my bank account and went on to have a $20,000 month in my business years ago, this is when things started to take off for me. I ended up doing 6 figures in like 5.5 months. And in the moment before all that, I literally had a nickel in my bank account, you guys, and I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills. Like, it was a serious thing. I was not looking for another job. It didn't go there. It wasn't an option. I said, nope, I'm going to master this. I'm going to do this. Let's go, Spirit. And I said, show me how, and I will show others how. I will be an example for others of how this can be possible. Let it be so magical and easy and fun and light. Show me how to make money in my business, and I will show others how to live an abundant life themselves, and for them to understand and know it can be done in a very loving way. Guess what? It happens. It required me showing up. It required me believing it was possible. It required me to not back down. It required me to put my stake in the ground and say, I'm having this and doing this and becoming this. No matter what, I'm committed. Let's do this, universe. I'm in. And it was scary. All the things came up, right? But I wouldn't be here if I hadn't chosen otherwise. So know that if you're watching this, it's because it's for a reason. Life's pulling you to live an infinite life. Life's pulling you to leave the past behind. Even in this moment, let's hug the version of you that even just joined this call and tell her, guess what? You just stretched yourself throughout this time. And you are, lots of energy just moved with that. It's making me up. But you just stretch yourself past your old self. And you're going to give her a nice big hug. You're going to say, I love you. Thank you so much for getting me here. And we're getting upgraded. We're getting upgraded because we're worthy. And guess what? When you choose to know you are worthy, we're choosing to let everyone else know that they're worthy too. We, one by one, become examples. And you just don't know what life is going to lead you into with that. I can tell you right now, again, I just got chills. Where you are, if you choose to step forward into what it is you're feeling pulled to do, where you can be in a few months, a year, is going to blow your mind. Because again, looking back, I would have never known what I would have stepped into. I would have never known that I would have been able to make it here or feel this way. Or be so tapped in now and to be so connected to spirit, to be able to lead these kinds of women, to feel how I feel in myself. I would have never known that or experienced this. I would have never known I would have lived in Laguna Beach, California. I wasn't planning on even leaving Florida. I would have never understood what was possible. And I will never understand even where I'm going to be at in a year from now. It's going to blow my mind. It's going to blow all of our minds. And that's the magic of life. It's being willing to step out, not knowing the path, and then allowing spirit to illuminate us into something so much more. And that's, again, the beauty of it. Because as we grow, as we shift, as we expand, more becomes available, more becomes possible. We are the creators of it all, the co-creators. And there's so much support around you that's encouraging you to step forward. There's so much support around you right now. Your angels are like, yes, she showed up. Even the sign that you showed up for this means that you are ready. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And let's decide right now that your expansion in this next chapter gets to be joyful. You don't need to have a dark night of the soul to expand. You don't need to be snot crying on your bathroom floor to expand. It doesn't have to be a struggle every time you rise. It doesn't, you guys. Yes, emotions may come up one day, but it doesn't have to be a struggle in order to rise. Let's let go of that shit. It gets to be easier. Yes, you will have things come up. Yes, sometimes you'll have doubt come up. Yeah, that's normal. Feel through it, baby. Sit with it. Love it. Don't choose it, though. Let's let go of that idea that expansion has to be a struggle, because there's a collective belief around that, too. There is a human journey, so this is not trying to bypass, because I want you guys to feel through everything, right? Don't teach spiritual bypassing, but I've also have been shown it can be easier when we allow it to be. So what if you stepping out gets to be fun? What if it gets to be quick, joyful? Why don't we just open up to that? Look at the light just showed up on my screen. What if it gets to feel good? What if we get to decide this expansion gets to be the most magical up-leveling you've ever experienced? Are you open to be an example for that? Because I've had many up-levelings that have been actually pretty easy and magical. Because when we remember who we actually are, all the fears will come up and out a lot quicker as we remember that none of them are real in the first place. Stuff's moving again. All right, take a breath in. I know we're over. We're going to do a little closing meditation. And, well, thank you for coming, Debbie. Just a beautiful, beautiful reflection of what you are, too. And I fully mean that. We're a soul family. And I'm just here reminding you of what is within all of you, truly. And I'm just saying that because it sounds good. It's true. Take a breath. You can place a hand on your heart or two hands and just say, I am worthy of every single thing that I desire. I get to have it all. I get to have it all. I get to have all the things. Health, abundance, list out love, meaning and connection, joy, soul-aligned friendships. I get to live in a home that's beautiful. I get to live somewhere I love. I get to travel and enjoy life. I get to eat amazing food and also take care of my body, right? You get to have balance. If you want kids and a career, you get to have both. You get to have it all. Nothing less. Nothing less for a queen, nothing less for a diamond. And in your choosing of that, you become an example for what's possible for others. Nothing feels better than showing people an example of maybe something they've never seen before, right? Nothing feels better than also having this story to share with others who might be struggling and pulling our sisters and brothers up with us. Because could you imagine a life where everyone was living their potential? Can you imagine what inventions this world would have? Can you imagine all the love? Can you imagine peace? Can you imagine the joy? Can you imagine the heaven that we'd be creating on earth if all were choosing this? One at a time, we can be the light, we can be the example. And we can choose to live our highest lifetime that's available to us. I am worthy. I'm worthy. I'm so worthy, and I love myself enough to choose it. Take a breath. And with everything, I always just invite, well, what else is possible? Universe, spirit, God, what else is possible for my life? Lift me into higher timelines of abundance and love and joy and freedom and bliss. I accept it. I receive it. I'm worthy of it. And anytime your mind comes up with these stories, come back to your heart and tell yourself, I'm worthy of this. Like Joanne's example of abundance comes in and then it's like, fear comes up, right? Cut in with your magic wand. Cut in with your beautiful diamond heart and say, nuh-uh, I'm worthy. And take a breath in. Feel what you need to feel. I am worthy. I am worthy. Love myself through every emotion that comes up and love myself through all the fears. But I'm not choosing them anymore. Because I love myself too damn much. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. Thanks for rocking and rolling with me and allowing this to be a divine orchestration that wasn't super planned. And for being open to expanding, for being open to seeing things differently, for being open to untangling old stuff. Another cool tool that you could say in all of this as you take it with you is, divine, please untangle this for me. Help me untangle this. And I'm telling you, either guidance will come in that moment. You might see a post later that day, or someone speaks to something, or you get guided to a book, or something like you get guided to this. You will be, or you'll have a realization, like realizations will pop in. Invite Spirit to help you to further untangle and unbind you from anything that's holding you to old paradigms of what you don't want. And then from here, what are you going to choose? What are you going to choose? Maybe it's creating new programs and offers in your business. Maybe it's going for a new business idea or something. Maybe it's applying for a different job, going back to school, taking my coaching cert that's launching in August. Maybe it is not texting that guy that you know is not good for you and choosing to let it go. Maybe it's trusting that divine is leading you into what's meant for you and letting go of the rest. I love you guys. Thank you so much for showing up. Replay will be available for you guys. And then next Monday, Jennifer, and I am very excited to bring her on, is going to be collaborating with me and how we can further step forward. Some of these things we'll talk about again, but in a different way. Since I channel a lot, it will be a little bit of a different format with her and I, which will be really empowering and really beautiful because she's created a lot of amazing things as well. Robin, you're welcome. Brenda, Joanne, Madeline, so good to see you. Jaden, Becca, Rachel, Cynthia, Gabby, Debbie, anyone else I missed? Hello. Thank you so much for coming. Cassie, I see you here. Nora, and anyone on the replay, thanks so much for showing up. I hope that this helped expand you. Take some deep breaths in, drink some water, allow the energy to continue working with you, and let me know what comes of this. I'm excited to see what you choose after this, and have an amazing night. Mwah! Bye.